Do you get Neil back this week in terms of your injuries? What are you looking at when you better? Obviously, got a couple of guys have tests.
Yeah, and that's this afternoon. So we really won't know, but Hams and Hill this afternoon, they're the main two, I think.
Are you confident on those at the moment?
Reasonably confident, yeah. My view is it may come down to that risk. They might get through. I expect they'll get through training, and then you say, can they get through a game in 3 days' time? And there's always that element of risk of re-injury, but they can only do what you ask them to do at training, and then we'll make the call on that.
How do you look at the risk situations? Obviously, if they ping it in 3, do you look at it and say, well, we'd rather miss one than possibly ping it again?
That's probably the way we would go. But again, it depends on how well they get through. If they get through training with no awareness at all, they're probably right to go. But if there's some awareness, we wouldn't take the risk. We wouldn't say, let's give them another couple of days and see how they go.
What was the extent of the Hill one?
Oh, it was very minor. Yeah, he actually took that mark and kicked that goal after he'd already hurt the hamstring. Yeah, so he came off, they assessed him, they put him back out there just to see how it felt running. He ran on, took a mark, kicked the goal from 50, and then limped off. Yeah, it was a good effort.
And Jack Darling, what are the early indications obviously you'd have to get through training?
Yeah, same with Jack. He's done some strides and things this morning and looked to be moving really freely. So we'll see how he's pulled up from that. And I haven't spoken to him since he's done those. But they assess what speed he runs at and how he feels.
What did the scan show up for him?
They showed up that he had a cork, like bleeding in there, some bleeding, and we know he got a knock to it. So yeah, we're confident that we can get that bleeding out.
Also, you get Lynch back from suspension, so you can get a couple of them. You'd be a bit happier with how you might be able to structure up.
Yeah, definitely, that'll help. Yeah, for sure.
Was it frustrating last week? You look at it now and going, okay, well, we're just going to have to manufacture something.
Yeah, not frustrating, but we try to do the best that we could. And obviously Ham's out accentuated the fact of what we had to use, and a lot of those guys haven't played any footy together that were up in the forward line, so we knew it wasn't going to function the same way as it had with the guys who'd been regularly there. But we get hopefully a few back.
So you would expect to kick a higher score this week as a result of that?
That'll be the aim. Hold the opposition to less than what Sydney kicked as well. Put those two things together. Hopefully it's in our favour.
John, is it right that Mark LeCras was seeing a specialist today?
I don't think so. So whoever said that may be wrong. Do you know who said it? And
I heard it this morning.
Would you expect that person may be wrong if they got a history? Come on, you're asking the question, so there's a bit of doubt there.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you could confirm it or not.
I can't confirm it or not, but yeah, from what I knew, he wasn't. No. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
When's that decision day that you mentioned a couple of weeks back that you have to make the call on whether to wrap him up or to say you're done?
We've had that day.
And what did you decide?
Do you really want to know?
I wouldn't mind.
No, with LeCras, basically his program is around getting him ready for next year, not taking any risks.
Why was that decision made? Did you decide that it was too in terms of his future, or
yeah, he's got a lot of footy ahead. He's an elite player. The risk of re-injuring his knee would not only put him out for another year, it would potentially do further damage to the knee and make it harder for him to come back. The reconstruction he had was at the best possible level, like no other damage to any other aspects of his knee. So he's actually got a really healthy knee going forward. So to try and risk him to come back early, and if he did re-injure it, the odds are he would do further damage, and we'd never see him back to being the great player we expect to see him back like next year.
How did he take that news? Because he looked like he was pushing to...
No, if there was a chance, he was going to be ready for it, absolutely. But he also knows we've got an exciting era ahead throughout the rest of his playing career.
How much of a role did he play in that final decision?
Yeah, he certainly had a role to play. He had to listen to our reasoning around it and be part of that.
You now got two of your long-termers done officially. What about Kennedy? He's, I think, he's 5 or 6 in the release, which will get him back maybe around 21.
Something like that, yeah. Yep.
How is he going to be realistic to play AFL footy, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm very confident he will, if he has no setbacks and has a good run at it. You know, he's already running really well fitness-wise. So by the time he's ready to play, he'll have done a pre-season basically. He'll be ready to go. So he'll only need a couple of games of game time to be what we think starting to hit his good form.
And have you put a program in place in terms of what ideally he'll do to get back?
Not yet.
Games for each player?
No, not yet. No.
Just on the weekend, he was just walking off the ground and he looked a bit proppy, almost like a mini limp.
A mini limp? No, I don't know. I didn't see him, but he ran well today, so okay. No mini limp.
Is there a date for Embley with the waffle game?
Well, hopefully next week. Yeah, that's the aim at this stage, that he's back playing next week, but it's not like locked in stone. We'll just see how he's going, and when he's really ready, he'll be back playing.
And would that likely be a full game of league waffle, or would it?
Unlikely, yeah, unlikely at this stage. But if it wasn't next week, it was the week after, it might be closer to a full game. So yeah, it just depends whether we put him in early and for some game time, or hold him for another week to get more game time. So yeah, his game time will depend when.
Has he been testing the shoulder with full contact?
Yeah. Yeah.
Going good?
Yeah, he's going well.
And it's the plan, obviously Dalziel came back for the twos, so I would imagine Embley play ones?
Well, if we say playing for 60 minutes, then it's understandable if Swans say that we can't really guarantee a league game for 60 minutes. So that's their call then. You know, we would like to think he could give them something over 60 minutes if that's the case, but really we'll cross that bridge when we get to that. As I said, it might be 80 or 90 straight up, and I'm sure they'd be more comfortable with that.
And with Bo, it was possibly 5 last week, down to 2, possibly even 1 now. He must have had some good recovery.
Yeah. It's depending on the news week, you put 2 to 5, and because we had some couple of suspensions and other injuries, it was like orders out up to 5. If we had no injuries or anything like that and the news was all good, it would have been likely to be out for only 2. You know, so you guys put the spin on it last week. Bo's looking at up to 5. There's always that chance you have that minor surgery that as soon as you start to run, you get some swelling, and then you've got to back off and build up again. You get no swelling, then it comes right back to how you feel. And, you know, he's recovered really well from it.
Would it be better to put 2 to 3 weeks then?
No, it could be 5.
Right.
Yeah, because arthroscopic surgery, you can be out for that long. So.
Well, can I just in your review, it was highlighted somewhere Sydney's tactics in the ruck of maybe stepping across the line in the circle. I gather you're aware of it. Did you have a problem with that, or was it worth raising a question as to whether that is legal or not? I think it's legal as long as they don't block. You're not allowed to block a ruckman's run at the ball with your arm or with your body. So if they're not doing that, they can jump from wherever they want. Right. But if they're blocking your run so you can't reach the ball, then it's a free kick. That's the basic rules. Are you okay with what Sydney?
I haven't had a look at them all, but you know, there was a couple where I think Nick couldn't reach the ball, which I would say then he was being blocked from reaching it. Now, I don't even know if they were free kicks paid or not for those ones.